hope to find you well. So let's get this party started. Let's check the music. Sorry. So, yeah, I think it's playing already. So, yeah. What's more, let's get into our project that we were last time. I'll stop everything running in Docker. I have locally right now, and I'm bringing that terminal. Right? And we were to go to this whoop, not this project, but this one, inspire. Yeah, that's it. So, like we've seen in the last episode, let me bring something more. So we add a pretty big thing going on. Oh, so this was to represent the browser, right? So for a quick catch up, this would be a typical Sail installation, not exactly with these services, so maybe never mind. This is just representing our host machine and a bunch of containers that we will tune to the project that we are doing right now. So, but I think we don't have Mailhog. Let me check. Of course, if it's the first time visiting, you should check the other episodes. Let's see what we're running here, and we are running a web server, MySQL, Redis, and Sakati. Right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's the case. This is something else we'll see today. So let's get back into our sketch. And we don't have Miley search, we don't have Selenium, and yep, it's similar now, almost there. So again, let me check. So this Laravel.test is running this Docker file, and this is the context. So supervisor file is being copied. Hey Samuel, how are you today? Glad you could join from the beginning. So we copy supervisor, not we, it's already default in Sail. This is the vendor directory. So supervisor D is the configuration is copied into the container to this path, right? And the entry point is start container that, as we've seen, is running commands when issued by when no parameters are given. When parameters are given, this is typically running sail something, right? But when is just running the container, then we are executing supervisor and with this configuration. And it's the simple basic one, and what is running is PHP artisan serve, and with a given configuration variables order, we have artisan serve to any host, and on port 80. So, adjusting our thing, we just have supervisor running artisan serve. So artisan serve, yeah, just one supervisor service. And we also have Redis running. Whoop, no, this that I want to. We have supervisor, Redis, MySQL. This caught me off guard, so I was drawing with the mouse in the other day. So yeah, we are doing something like this, and also we're having Cathy running in port something. So Laravel.test mapping 80 and 5173. So yeah, that's the drill. 5173.
Just listen.
Mapping, of course, to 7173 if we don't change anything. Also, we have MySQL 3306. So this is pretty standard, right? There we go. This could be better and will be better in another diagram. This is just a sketch. Redis is also mapping, but we don't even use it from outside. So all the communication for Redis happens through the local Docker network. So it doesn't, even with the database also, right? It's just that yesterday we were going to the database from a DB client, right? Also, Cathy, the web server client, is mapping to 6001, right? To the same, right? 6001, 5173. Okay. So, and also Redis, but it's getting tricky, yeah? You know the drill. Okay, let's do it. I'm pretending I'm not watching this. It's really messy. So, this is noticeable. Let's put this project to work again. And just so you know, before there's a little catch here I will show you. So, pusher host is Cathy, right? Because if this is the browser, okay, it's back at working again. Sometimes I have few issues. Okay, so Cathy needs to be approached in localhost from two, at least localhost, the current setup, right? It needs to be reached when Laravel wants to send some data to some payload to Cathy, can use the internal network, right? So the host will be the container name. So this is what we have right here. But when the browser needs to connect the permanent connection to Cathy, it cannot use this host as the same like the internal network. So it has to use localhost, and in turn this browser is running in the, it's also running in the host, yeah, but for the sake of simplicity, it does not have access to this internal network. So it's like this would be something like that, right? So the browser has to go into the host machine, so it's going to localhost host. The port is the same, so this is why there's this difference, and that's it. So let's put this project to work, and we will run just sail up -d, and it has detached the running of these processes, and I will attach it again to see the output. So it's docker compose logs follow, is it right? Yeah. So we have attached the output of the logs after detaching, and yeah, we can see we have sail, MySQL, Redis, and Socrates running. And something more that we need is the QE worker running. So sail artisan QE work, and it's now processing jobs. So we are going to visit our browser, and I'm going directly to duplicate. Whoops, we also need to run vit, right? So sail npm run dev, and is using all of those ports that we've seen, right? So the browser is also getting the assets from this connection, and sure enough, if I'm to refresh, we will get served assets from the vit compilation. At least if I remember correctly, all should be working. And yeah, this is one application I built for the sake of a talk where I deployed it live, and we are going to do that as well today. So whoop, not this, I want to reduce. Okay, and let's see the workflow here. I want to see the console of both. I want to see, maybe I can reduce once more. So let's go to the quiz, let's put results in the right. Let's clear console. Oh, I cleaned, but I didn't want to because I want to see the WebSocket message, right? Just to demonstrate. And also we could see there's no job still processed, right? So this is just for a fun. We're making a poll or a quiz, which is the best beer from within the PHP Lisbon group users. And in the right, we are watching a live updating poll. And what's happening, I will vote right now for my favorite. So they are handmade, or yeah, it's handcrafted beer, something like that. I don't know if that's the name in English, but they are handmade and they are sold in Lidl. So I will vote for that, and sure enough, if all goes well, I don't have to do nothing, and yeah, it just updated the result for anyone watching that page. And it has done that because in this WebSocket, after the vote, it should have received a message, right, broadcasted from Laravel, and a new vote was submitted, right? And in some channel there's no data, because after we receive this broadcast, we will via Ajax get the results again. So we got them once we loaded the page, and we got it again after the event was broadcasted. So yeah, pretty nice. And we see here that there's one job that was processed, and if we bring back this diagram or sketch. I will do it in blue. So we visited the page, or we visit the page. In the quiz, in the charts results page, it's one connection permanent is established to the port 6001. That is of course our Sockety instance. And in the voting page, we did an XHR Ajax request to port 80. So Laravel processed the stuff, right? And after that, it put in Redis a job, right? So it put a job here, and the QE was running in a separate process that I was running in the shell. QE got the job, it's also a Laravel application, and sent an HTTP request to Sockety, broadcasting the event, or I mean sending the payload to broadcast it, and Sockety taking turns in that permanent connection broadcasted the event to the browser, and then the browser went to the 80 port again, but in a totally different request, just to get the results again. So all this happened or happens each time a vote occurs. So I'm going to vote for Musa, so I expect to see the green bar going up. So it's a little bit slow, but there's also so much going on, and of course things will be faster in a production deployment. And also this is a naive implementation that can be done with an optimistic approach, directly updating the chart without making the Ajax, so directly from WebSocket. But yeah, it's it's for another time. So what we will do now is we will deploy a new server, and we're going to deploy this with Docker. Does that sound cool? I hope so. Yeah. So to deploy this application, we can take many considerations. Starting just a second, because Sebastian is back again. Hello, Sebastian. Hello, welcome. So he's saying he missed the previous lives, but that's not a problem. I hope you can catch them later, I think. Not sure how much are you into Docker already. If you missed 2 or 3, most likely not sure if you will be able to follow everything along, but maybe you know this already. I don't know, let's see. Let me know any questions you may have. Sorry. So this Docker Compose that we're watching, editing and running, is exactly one copy from dev. So this dev is a source revision file that lives in GitHub repository, and some instructions to do when we clone the repo for the first time will be to copy the compose file to the standard one if we don't want to reference what file we're using when we issue Docker Compose commands. And this is just one approach that allows us to, at least the way I see it, to have multiple compose files living in the same repo, and we can be sure for a sanity check. For me it's easier. Of course we could have a base Docker Compose and then use several files. Let me remind you of that. Right now it's not the way I prefer to do it, but for the sake of learning. Let's see that when we run docker compose commands. If we don't say anything, is the same thing as issuing docker compose.yaml and also docker compose.override.yaml. So if we were to do something like docker compose config or up or anything, and we omit this -f declaration, this is what docker compose will issue for us. And of course, this will be the base configuration, and then this will merge and override values. Arrays will be incremented. So also we could do a base docker compose and then have a few keys for dev, another ones for prod, and we would run it like that. Sorry, there's an extra -f here. So this is a way to do it, but after having done that for a long time, I now resort to using just totally different files, and depending in the environment that I want to use, I might use being explicit what file I want to use, or I just might copy it and just leave with that. Okay, cool. So right now we want to deploy into production, and the real production that I will show you most likely in not today, it will be in actually it will be in Laravel Forge, but there's something different from today, because we'll see two approaches, but well, one of them has traffic generating SSL certificates and doing virtual hosts and more stuff, so that will be more complex. So first let's do everything without any remote, without any hosts, without virtual hosts and more stuff. So we will do something like a demo, right? So it's what I've done before, and this was running without any domains, so just using the IP address as the host, and that's it. So that's how we're gonna deploy today. I think there won't be enough time to do both deploys. I mean, let's see what goes. So, and to making it clear, I think it's time to make this better, I think. Because if I leave it to do it later, then it doesn't happen, right? So, let me get the diagram application, not just sketching, right? So, the demo deploy that we are going to do will have a single VPS, right? One VPS or VPS A, let's call it like this. And we are doing exactly everything. We will use host will be IP and ports directly mapped to the and container ports. Container ports are directly mapped to the host machine, right? So this is the simple scenario. Let's do it by baby steps, okay? And we'll be running, hopefully. How can we do this? We can run inside the Laravel the web server, we will run nginx, I mean supervisor, right? With nginx, fpm, and also, for instance, cron. We can have like everything in a monolith, but it depends on the use case, of course. But I think is what we might have. Let me check. So it's called production, but I did demo, right? Let me check for a moment. Yeah. So the demo is based on in this production case. And let me check what's going on here. We have the worker, cron, fpm, nginx. Yeah. So let's do the naive implementation. So everything will be like this. And what's more? Yeah, we have ports, right? So we have port 80, we have 6001, we have 3306 we don't have, and I think we're going to do it like this, right? So this is going to be for HTTP requests, and this will be for WebSocket requests, right? So this is quite huge. So Sebastian is making a question. How maintainable is this? I mean, if you have to make a change in the code and then upload that change, you have to rebuild everything. Hopefully, well, there are multiple ways to do this. Today we'll be using, maybe this is in front of me, I'm sorry. So today we'll be using the host VPS to build the image in place, like we do it locally. We could alternatively push the image to a server, to a Docker Hub registry server. It might be Docker Hub, it might be a private one, Docker ECR. There are multiple GitHub packages. There are multiple places where you can host or you can self-host. But in terms of building everything, yes, I put it in quotes, yes, in quotes, because Docker will have caches. So most likely you are just copying the new source code, caching what you have to cache, and rebuilding and building also the JavaScript assets, all the layers that don't need to be updated will be maintained. So you can have a deploy as simple as under 1 minute, if not running any tests. This is totally possible. About maintainability, you mean just the building, or are you also concerned about having multiple services inside one container? And this question is because if you are worried about scaling and having multiple containers, so yeah, that's a problem, and by design this is not meant to work that way. We have to separate things, but this is the most simple. Let's go by baby steps in a few different approaches. So yeah, that's why everything is under one container. Oh, cool. Samuel is also giving his opinion. Let me read. Sebastian Perez. Personally, I would... It's Samuel speaking, addressing to Sebastian. Personally, I would have the rebuilding taking in place in a GitHub action, Bitbucket pipeline, or the other CE/CD pipeline, then push the image to some registry. Yeah, that's another option. And like I mentioned it also before, and that's the ideal one, but also more complex. So let's go baby steps, and I think it all depends on the use case, right? It all depends. The great answer is it depends. So Sebastian replied, I mean both files, I mean the Laravel app and the services. Okay, so yeah, Sebastian, everything is very maintainable. There are more complex scenarios than others, but everything is well maintainable. How uh, how complex you need it depends on how much complexity you have in setting it up. But after learning the thing, it complex becomes simple after you understand every part, right? Okay. So let's do this. Let's call it Laravel.test, right? The Laravel application, full stack. Also, JavaScript assets are served inside from Nginx. So yeah, this is Laravel full stack. And we have this 80 port from 80. Oh, this is gonna take a while, right? So let's do it simple. Here is port 80, going to 80. What's more, we have MySQL, and it's serving MySQL in 3306. Whoop, 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 what did I do? So 8 for typing, 3306, and the Laravel container is going to reach database from container to container. So it won't even need exposed port. So it doesn't even need a firewall blocking 3306 because it's just not exposed. So Sebastian replied, nice and thanks. So I'm also happy that I could explain myself. So that's cool. In the next 1 or 2 episodes more, we'll understand plenty more. I just want to do these baby steps so that this can be a meaningful resource for later and many people. So, not only MySQL will be using Redis. Redis will be in some port that I forget right now. And what's that? Let me check locally. It was so 6379. Cool. And also this will be without exposing to the outside world. Okay, it's kind of tricky, this kind of diagram, the magnets. I'm still getting used to this application. And also we're running Sockety. And now, yeah, this port will be exposed or mapped to a exposed one. And there's the line there. Cool. So this can be mapped to the outside world. And what we're going to do, just to keep you attracted to the tomorrow session, if you are getting troubles understanding, not understanding, but accepting this as a, oh, how is this possible to do about the scaling stuff? So this is one approach. So this is for simple Docker. Demo deploy, just for simplicity's sake. And we'll also have orange, for example. And we'll also have, maybe we'll change the color later, because I typically don't even put the persistence in the same VPS, so I would do something like this. No, not demo deploy, but production deploy. So these would come here, right? Also, this is a local network. I think I'm taking too much time, right? But it is what it is, it has to go, right? Oop. So this is a private network between the two. Redis you can decide to have separated or not, but for sake of simplicity we can leave it here. It depends on the context, but it might work just like that, no problem. But I would put it like that. So Samuel is also saying level 3 is Kubernetes. Yeah, that's like level 100, I would say. I'm not even going to risk myself in covering it, but I can leave you with a very funny meme that a friend, colleague sent. Where's that? Yeah. So the H in Kubernetes stands for happiness. So yeah, this is just a fun. Of course, it all depends on who you are and what you want to do. But I think I'm not touching Kubernetes so soon. If I would have to do something like that, I would for sure put Docker container in a, not manage myself Kubernetes, but doing it, having someone run it, right? So 6309, and Sockety will still be here. And there's something more different also, because in production we will have nothing like this. We will have a redirect to 443, and also in 443 we will run HTTPS and WebSocket Secure, or WSS, right? And what happens is, okay, let's delete this for now. We will have traffic in front, and traffic will have 80 and 443 mapped. Whoop, 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 whoop. 80 and 443 mapped. And how are we on time? 40 minutes. Okay, so let's see. We will have these ports mapped. And it's a reverse proxy, right? So traffic, all the traffic will go inside 80 and 443, yeah, to the outside world. So let me find No, I have a library with that, right? So all computers outside. I don't know. Web. I want users visiting, like users browsing. So every traffic will be there. It doesn't matter if it's for a WebSocket or for a HTTP request. Everything will go through the reverse proxy traffic, and that will establish the connections. And José Borges, hello. Olá, boa noite. How are you today? Hope to find you well. So this is the setup. So most likely this container will have a map to the outside world, right? From the one entry point, and also 6001 will have, but not Redis and not MySQL. So yeah, there's that. We could connect, for instance, to MySQL with a jump server and the SSH tunnel, but that's for another episode also. Let's be happy with this for now. And so José is all good and learning a lot from the videos. Thank you so much, José. It's a good sign. It means I can explain something I learned in the past, so that's good. And hopefully I bring more fun stuff to do. So, fun fact, Sebastian is saying, José Borges, your last name is the same as a famous Argentine writer, Jorge Luis Borges. Any relation? And I'm not sure if he's not the writer, because José writes a lot. No, I'm making a fun. Okay. So yeah, there's that. Today we are going to this approach. Oh, and José Borges has read other José Borges, right? So, nice. Whoop. So this is for today. This is for today, episode 5, if I'm not mistaken. And this is afterwards, right? Okay. Cool. I'm glad that I have a showable diagram right now, because this is good to do it quickly, but it's not good for a reference. So now there's that. Cool. Let's go to the moon. Okay. So let's go through a Docker Composer.demo that will be this. So Docker Compose.demo.yaml, right? And this one will be for Docker Compose.prod. And of course, MySQL could run within Docker. How can I do this? Sorry. Yep. Okay, so this is in my place. Not my place, but okay. It was in front of me, right? Okay. So this will be for few later episode. Tomorrow next is Docker Compose.prod, And of course, despite MySQL can run on also on Docker, it will be in a different VPS. It might be Docker, it might be a managed service, it might be host machine running MySQL, but what it matters is this Docker Compose is only to this setup. Okay, and we'll do this the next episode. And we are 15 minutes left, so let's jump into the demo. Let's do it still today. Cool. So I have something that I shouldn't have in this, but I will explain it just right away. This would be to scale workers, but to put many. Oh, sorry. Nice thing I've seen this, because it's not like that. We will have something totally different here. Well, not totally different, but a lot different. Okay, we can leave traffic as it is. So we will stop having that, and Laravel will be distributed across a few containers. So the size of the squares have no relation at all, right? So we will have multiple, and we'll have, maybe we could have, okay, let's keep it simple. Of course, people will understand. So here we might have Nginx. No, not this. Why is it like this? Because it's grouped, right? So ungroup selection for some reason. That's why I couldn't do it quicker. Okay, now I can. And I can resize it. So let's wait. Nginx will be connected to traffic, right? And also there will be, there's no cron installed, but for the sakes of learning, it will be there. I need more space, sorry. Okay, so this is a private network. This needs to come from there, so sorry. It comes from a private network. I will put it right. It will be more understandable. And this comes from, well, now cron will access to that, so it's one container. Are you guys understanding? Oh, Jose Borges has to go. Thank you, Jose, for coming. I think I will also use another tag, Laravel app inside, right? But is only running Nginx. Okay. I hope it's okay. What I wanted to say is that there is cron, there's worker or multiple workers, so n workers. Worker 1 until worker up to worker n. So I think I'm getting explicit. And also we need FPM, where PHP code will be interpreted. So we might run into some issues of, yeah, we know there's the MySQL can be connected to multiple. So we might have one case like this. So cron jobs can also put jobs to QE and so on. So I think I'll risk it to have it like this. So risk in the terms of being understandable. I hope you get it right. And so yeah, and I guess we can close it. I think it got kind of neat. If we do it like this, we can ungroup. Of course, we can also have multiple FPMs and multiple Nginxes, but this will be to another swarm case, so it's even a next one, a next case, another level. So how can we do that? How can I represent? Maybe also with a color, right? Or maybe. Yeah, okay. So this is the amount, like the opacity of the background. So I'm just going to leave it like that, right? So yeah, I think I'm happy with this. So if I open here, it will have another stroke. And yeah, also comes to Socketti from the inside, right? And that's it. Our Laravel application now has different components, and all of that is a container. So multiple containers. Let's say it like this. I think will be better. And I'll be more explicit here with supervisor. Okay, cool. I'm happy again. Hope you guys are enjoying. So this is one deploy. This is another kind of deploy. And I needed this with some guidelines. I can't find it anymore where they are. No problem. Let's change these to some other color. I don't know why, but I think it works better in orange. Okay, no problem. So let's get back, and with this it's 5 minutes left. Okay, so and what's happening here? In the demo I don't even think, yeah, I really need to change these, so I will do it like this, just for the sake of having it here. Display valid. Let's just do it like this. And what's happening here is for tomorrow. Okay. So let's forget about that for now. And let's forget about this for now. And about this. And I, of course, I think you can understand what's going on. But let's keep it simple for today. And I think that's, for some reason I like to have it in this order. And that's it. Okay. I think we're good to go. Okay. So in this big monolith for the demo, we are declaring a web network for the Docker Compose and 2 volumes for persistency. I'm not sure if I was running. Is the music okay? Is there anyone that could tell me? Okay. Maybe I can visit page. I really need to finish the setup. Yeah, it's too loud. Sorry for that. 1, 2, sound. Yeah. Better, I guess. Okay, so what's more? Thank you, Samuel. We'll put this to work now. What is, sorry. Okay, so services that we'll be using. In the demo YAML, .demo.yaml, we will be building that service with the context, the local, the root folder where we'll run, where we'll issue the command, and the Docker file is living. I published it, right? And is living in the repo. It's not in vendor directory anymore. And this is pretty much like a monolith setup. And I mean that because everything lives inside this container. So I'm thinking of this like a VM, like I told you in the first episode. Let's think of this like a virtual machine. This is another virtual machine. So for a storytelling, of course, it's a container, but we will think of this as single responsibility kind of thing. It's the web server that does everything the web server does. So yeah, it depends on the use case, on the context, but most likely you want to go to the more advanced setup. But this is for you to know that for very simple projects you can get away with this just fine. So this Docker file is somewhat different from Sail Docker file, and what's happening here is that first we are going from a base image which is node 16, and we copy the context here. We copy the context to the working directory, and we build the front end, right? Then we take the context from that previous stage, and we install composer dependencies. And after that, we start another stage from a fresh Ubuntu 22.04, and we just do a setup like you would in a VPS. Of course, there are extra stuffs. This is not totally clean, lean. I mean, for example, we're not using SQLite, and it's there. But yeah, you get the picture. Then you have to fine tune it. Also, the Postgre client and more stuff. I think it's still being installed. Yes, it is, and we're just using MySQL. So it's up to you to take it further and suit it to your taste, or you can just use it as is. It's not that huge. It's just 400 megabytes, so it's perfectly fine. We're just going through this because we want to understand everything that's going on. So we have cron installed, also nginx. It's not in the typical sale. Also, we're not using supervisor, okay? But this is the base stuff for Ubuntu. Then we install a PHP H.1 in this case, also with FPM, that will work together with nginx to serve the requests, and also PHP modules. We will install Node, and no, we will not. What Node? Postgre client and MySQL client, and then we will clean after ourselves. And this setup is from another repo I have. You can check it in my blog. You can check one where it is. Yeah, this is the one. You can check how we will do this in a future stream, so you can check a pretty minimal quick step to run one Laravel default application in very easily and quickly within Laravel Forge. Of course, you can also do it quickly just with Docker, but you won't have all the management and managed stuff that for also the updates. And if you don't know it, I recommend you to use Forge for Laravel and PHP server deployment. But if it doesn't fit your taste, or you cannot use for any reason, you can do it just fine with Docker. Also, you'll have to be responsible to maintain the host machine. So yeah, this is why the user is called Forge, and what we are doing here is setting up a user to be working inside Forge, but it can be named Forge even we're not using it. So we're also setting up nginx, and this will use this configuration for nginx, and we have to run it as the user Forge. And what's more, we have to do a proxy pass. Where is it? Where is that? I think no. Sorry, is it not here? Oh, it is not. So in the default site configuration, it's pretty default. We are serving in port 80, and we want to do where is that? I can't believe I can't find it right now. So we are configuring access log and error log to the output. Docker will output them. and I was pretty sure, yeah. So every files index.php will be interpreted by PHP FPM through a Unix socket. And this is for the setup on the left, because everything is in the same container. On the setup on the right, we will have to do a TCP connection to another container. So this proxy pass would not be done the same way, and we'll have to change that. And this is it for Nginx. You can change configurations here. About PHP, you can also check some other configurations. So there's FPM. We have to change some stuff, like we shouldn't. Is it here? No, it's in www. What are we doing here? Of course. Right. We are instructing where to find configurations, and also we don't want to daemonize because we want to run it in the foreground, and supervisor will maintain it running and monitor it. Also, www.conf is changing the permissions of how the process, the permissions to how the process will be ran. And also we are, I'm not sure if this was the file. Where is that? We should have this clearenv. Yeah, it's in www.conf. So yeah, we should not clear environment if we want to load environment from Docker. So say you are running from Kubernetes or Swarm, you need to, most likely you will have or not .env file in the root of the project. Once again, it depends. So we'll need to clean that. And what's more, php.initial ini, right? You can change also PHP settings. So cron is also instructing cron to run every minute for the artisan scheduler. And what's more, sorry, closed one more, and we are 1 hour and 10 today, so maybe a longer episode. What will it be after? So yeah, cron, we will cron tab that file. So if for some reason you want to put any further cron jobs, you can put them here. What's more, services. So this is where we configure services, and Nginx will be running in the foreground. FPM the same, we did that in the settings. Cron the same, and also we have 8 processes running inside, 8 workers running inside one container. So that's it for the Docker file, and you can check it later. Right? All this is open source. So the image that we'll create, it's tagged here. We will map port 80, so everything like this, right? Restart always will maintain if the container stops, the process supervisor stops, not the underneath processes, right? If any of these stops, they are being monitored by supervisor, okay? And Docker is listening just to process ID number 1 with ID number 1. So what we have to do, what Docker is doing in the host, is monitoring just one process in each container and supervisor process. So if that process crashes for some reason, Docker will lift it up again. And also if when the VPS reboots, it will be lifted up again. So there will be a .env file in the server that will be mapped to the to this location in the container. So I won't do it in the drawing, but there will be inside VPSA, there will be a file and it will be mapped to some folder inside this container. So, and of course we change environment variables by changing them there. So now we're also doing the same for the app folder and logs folder, so we can check them even if it's in Forge, or even if it's in the, despite being in Forge or in the VPS, we can go in and check Laravel logs, right? What's more, it's in the network web. About MySQL, it will be also running in Docker in this example, and it's pretty much like in local. So running this image, always restarting. We will remove this mapping. We'll be using passwords in the environment to start. We'll use a volume to persist. It's in the same volume, in the same network, and there's a health check, so Docker can monitor the health for this container. And what's more, just not listening for an exit code, but also running a command. So Redis is also pretty much default. You can understand everything from before. And also Sockety is very pretty much like before. And what we'll do now is still leave it mapped, because we need to the browser to access Sockety and also to access this server, and we still don't have traffic in place. So yeah, let's do the final stuff, right? I left some instructions to run during the talk, so it would be faster. So let me bring up a new VPS. I will be logging in another window, and we'll deploy a new VPS just now. So we can, oh, I have to delete this previous one, so just a moment. And yep. Okay. So we are deploying a server with Etzner, and let's do just that. I'll put it in Nuremberg using Docker. Their flavor of Docker, it's 2004 LTS with Docker previously installed. I want to put a beefier VPS, and what's more, nothing, because I already have the key. SSH key, is it right? Yeah, my key will be added to the machine, and I want you would want to set up firewall or a backup or something further, but for now it's just okay. We could also put some initial commands to run here, but with Docker it's so easy. We will do it just afterwards. So simple Docker demo 01, right? So let's deploy this server, and of course let me know if you have any questions. I see more people coming in, and hopefully we'll be done in under 10 minutes. So that's the challenge. Let's see if we can do that. It will start counting when after provisioning, right? So we need to do some stuff. Let's grab the IP address. Let's just make sure. I don't know why we're making sure, but of course there's no reply from the server inside the browser. And what we'll do is we'll go SSHing into that server, and I have to find what is, yeah, there we go. So I don't want to keep the server fingerprint inside the known hosts. So what's happening is we are going inside not storing identity for the server. And Jose Borges is putting, I think it's an emoji, but I don't know which one it is. And let's go inside this container. Let me know if what that emoji means. Okay, so we're inside, and we're going to install Docker Compose. I mean, because I think we will not have it. Let me check. So Docker we do have, right? And Docker Compose with a dash we don't. And Docker Compose. Oh, we do have Docker space Compose. Yeah, because the API changed, and I mean Compose was introduced native in the default in the core after some version, so we don't need to install it. I was just used to do that, to grab it from somewhere. So Compose is already there. So what we'll do now is to add a user, and it will be something. Okay, that's the user, and now I won't even put it a key. So let's add some groups to the user. So it will be a sudoer, and also in the Docker group. And let's change to that user. And let's go to the home folder. And something I always do, I think I've explained that before, I want DC to be Docker Compose. So I'm from now on during whoop. What happened? DC equals, oh damn, okay, also possible. So DC will be Docker what happened? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I want to do it to inside that file. I'm not sure how to do it. Maybe I would need to escape shards or something, but sure enough, DC already for this session, it will not persist, but in this session it will persist. So I'm good with that. So let's make a folder for apps. I just like to have them here, and that's it. So we are cloning this repository. I think I've changed few stuff, so let's get back and change stuff for episode demo on simple Docker. Episode 5, right? CSH is, oh damn. But I think it went okay, right? I'm just gonna go and push it. Also, go to main. Doing okay, pushing. Oh, right, Samuel. I forgot. I did an echo and I forgot. Yeah. Thank you so much. So that's why. Okay, so I pushed the changes already. So we're, yeah, alternatively, log out and log in. Yeah, you are right. Thank you. So what's more, let's clone the repo. And it will be here. Sure enough, it is. So we have to copy the .temp.example, and right now we have to update the host browser in the environment variable. So this will work. And where is it? Where is it? Here it is. So let's put the, yeah, no, there we go. We'll change it because the JavaScript will be built here and we want it to work, right? So now you see we can use it declaring what file we'll be using because there's no Docker Compose default notation, right? So we can do that, or we could just rename the file. I prefer to do that when locally. So right now we're just gonna build, yeah, I'm okay. Docker space compose in this case. So we're just gonna build the image right here in the server, where in the same server where we'll be running the project, and we'll do it always like this for this setup. Let me remind you, we are still not using a private registry. We might in the future. I mean, for sure we will, but not for this simple scope. When I mean the simple scope is something. This is the simple scope, but we might have one or it depends, right? Something we might have down the line is the other server for a Docker private registry, right? So we could build the image somewhere, launch it to here, and then when we were to deploy, we would just fetch the latest version of the image, and this would be so much faster, right? Samuel, let me know if that's the way you were mentioning before also. So what's happening here? npm run build is not able to build. Top level weight is not available in the configure target environments. Whoa, so something went really bad. Let me check. So the same command has to work locally. And I think we'll run into the same issue. Let me go and find what it is. It's in the first file, right? npm run build. Oh yeah, we had this yesterday. The issue is with SSR. Right, so there's a command like to don't do it with SSR, right? I don't remember. -- no SSR? Something like that? I can't remind. Build. I want the default to build without. Let me get the error. Samuel, do you know the flag from top of your head? Okay. Yeah, in dev is okay. I guess it won't say a thing. Oh, we can add build.target yes next, and it will accept. Yeah, this is most likely because, yeah. Okay, we would have to, because I'm running for sure. I can also delete that because we're still not using it, but it's just something I'm toying with. I'm running await top level, so probably this is the reason why that is happening. But for sure I can also build for another target. How would this be? Top level await promise. I have to read this later. Okay, so let's see if this now goes on. Hopefully yes, because now the target version will allow that, and it already passed install. It was cached the few first steps, and it's already running, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fix JS build, and I'm going to push this, and again we're gonna pull it, and we're building again, and with a little bit of luck we'll build just fine, right? I don't need it to be built locally, not this way, it's a production setup. So I'll just cancel it, and is built already, and we're already running Composer installation. Oh, and this live got a little bit bigger. Yeah, but I also didn't want it to be just theoretical, so yeah, I would have to split it. It's a live and learn. I hope you're enjoying still. So we can see more commands being run, and yeah, it is built. So what's more, we can go to the next step. Oh, and I also recommend you to see this task file. Is a very neat project to run. Adrian Cooney, thank you so much for this project. It's really cool so that we can keep tasks to run just like this. Little similar to Artisan. I think I've mentioned this, not that I speak, but yeah, that's it. So let's bring the project up with that file, and I'll do it somewhat differently because now I want it to run detached, and typically we would also remove orphans. We've seen that, we've covered that before, and yeah. So Docker, yeah, I can run. I copied it with a space and I shouldn't have, up -d. So yeah, now it's pulling Sockety, MySQL, and Redis. So Samuel saying that is enjoyed, and it's definitely better to take long and be clear than rush for the sake of time. Huge thank you. Well, no problem, Samuel. That's my pleasure. And thank you also for always being there and all your inputs. So it should be running, right? So let's check Docker PS, and sure enough, it's running. MySQL, Sockety, Redis, and our monolith container full stack with all the goodies, right? I mean, it's this one, that one, and that one, right? And what about mapped ports? We see here that 6001 from the host in any host will go to 601 TCP, and the same for port 80 for 80 also, right? So as we've learned before, we can go inside the container. So let's, instead of up, let's use the same compose configuration, but this time we'll run exec with the user forge will run in the service Inspire. If you remember, Docker Compose is attaching that command to Inspire, so it will even map these containers, everything, right? So these volumes, folders as volumes, bind mount volumes, and we'll run bash inside. And right now we are inside our, yes, you guessed it, inside this container we are in the folder. Well, I mean, it has all these services, yeah, so we are inside the folder inside this container, right? So yeah, we can run just php artisan and we're good to go. So php artisan key generate to start, right? We can also config cache, route cache, but this is just a demo. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, okay, let's go ahead. And if all went well, I will copy this IP address. You can do the same at home. And ta-da-da-da, drum rolls, and it's running. We are running it live. And you can do the same from this IP address. And let's do that, guys. If you have the possibility, add to, oh, I will put the results in the right. You can scan the QR code, or you can add to 159, the IP address 159 in your browser, 159.69.36.49. Head to quiz and vote for your favorite beer. Let's see if this works. I'm not even opening the console. DevTools, I will vote for Sagres. And if all went well, ta-da-da-da. No, it did not went well. And why is that? 500 error. Okay. Results, there's an error. Well, of course, we didn't migrate database, so there's still hope. PHP artisan migrate fresh. We don't need fresh, but it's just that I'm used to it. Seed and force, because I think we're in production, right? Sorry, Samuel is not working. Whoa, Faker Factory is not working, but I think we don't need seed. Okay, there's database. And what's more, how is .env? Nano.env. Just a minute, Samuel. Environment is local, and also this could never happen, but I don't care. It's just for the fun now. If you refresh, most likely it will work. So let's vote. You do it again. We will see it appear. Oh, I don't know if you did it already, so only if it works. And it worked, because you voted for Coral, right? I will vote for Brahma, and I will press OK, and hands off, and there's someone also voting for Kuka. So yeah, I'm pretty excited and happy to show you all in this such few time, going through all the stuff. We were able to deploy all this infrastructure, so this is really cool. I will vote again for Erdinger. I really like Erdinger also, so one more vote. Okay, 2 votes for Erdinger. You can vote only every 3 seconds, not to spam the thing. Okay, so that's cool. Thank you so much for participating in this interactive stuff. And what's more, we'll see that it was really funny. So we deployed all these VPS with this container having a multitude of services, MySQL running also, Redis for queues and serializing jobs, also Sockety, so for the WebSockets. Yeah, so I'm really happy for being able to do this with so easy. Yeah, so I hope you also enjoyed it. Samuel is saying, I just chose at random as I couldn't recognize any of the brands. Oh, sorry, yeah. This was a Portuguese meetup that happened in Lisbon. So yeah, if you are someday around Lisbon, so check phplisbon.com. So this was meetup number 3. I think this is picture from there in that day. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And yeah, be sure enough to follow. So there I did this presentation, and before I asked in the Telegram users group, I just asked what are your favorite beer without saying what would happen. And live that day I did that quiz, and it was funny. So yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I think that's it for today. We are much longer after the clock, but the goal was done for today. We have this full setup done. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed, Samuel. So yeah, I don't know more brands of beer, but for me it doesn't matter as long as it's beer. It's okay. Okay, guys. So heading off for today. Hopefully we'll continue tomorrow, and if not the other day, and that's how it goes. So if you don't have any more questions, this is where I say goodbye for now. You know where to reach me: YouTube, Twitter. Just be sure to follow if you're new to the channel and you want to keep receiving notifications when this goes live. Don't forget to share with your friends. I appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for today. I don't see any more questions, so I wish you everyone a good night, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in, and I'll see you on a next one. Yeah, that's it. Okay, guys. Now I'm really going. Ending stream. Goodbye for now. See you real soon. Happy coding. Ciao.